Hi guys, welcome to Perspective. Today I'm gonna talk about uh, like uh, climate change, and since all of us are quite aware about the climate change and all those uh, uh, disadvantages associated with it, I happened to write something about it while uh, I submitted some of the full criterias or submitted the documents necessary to get the certification for international competence. So I happened to watch a lecture series, and it was based on the title of the rest of the lecture series was aspect or Erderwärmung, or what are the aspects of global rise in temperature. I think Earth temperature is maybe the appropriate title for it. And what I wrote in the first lecture titled "Aspect Erderwärmung" or by Professor Dr. Nicholas Freudsheim from Institute for Geowissenschaft, University Bonn. He took a lecture series on that, and according to him, the three main greenhouse gas contributing to global temperature rise include carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. The current increase in temperature of 1.7 percentage annual should not reach 2 percentage by the year 2180. He points out that in case it will be a problematic to the future generations of ours. Apart from global increase in temperature and lesser snowfall in some part of the world, for example, Bonn did not receive enough snowfall. The melting ice sheet in the Greenland is also the problem. The carbon dioxide concentration in land is decreasing as we are burning more fossil fuels, and the surface concentration is increasing. The increasing population of around 10.7 million people by 2100 increases the carbon dioxide burden. In the second lecture number two, the title, again under the same title, Aspect the Erderwärmung, or the aspect that is responsible for the increase in temperature of the Earth. Uh, Under that title, a webinar was conducted by University of Bonn, titled "Planetary Health Diet," and it was the title was given that, and also the subtitle was Herausforderungen und Chancen für die Ernährung Transformation, or challenges and chances for uh, near transformation. I think it's like that. So what I wrote about some summaries I wrote about that. The summary I wrote was the topic. This topic centered around food production and supply chain management. About 50% of carbon dioxide footprint is generated by food waste. The amount of oil consumption has increased the cost of food production. About 50% of the food burden is upon green vegetables and fruits. Similarly, the cost of meat production and its carbon imprint is higher. There are companies and government involved in the management of food waste and supply chain of the foods. Once improved, the system can feed the growing population. The topic is vast and needs a good command over the language skills. In the lecture number 3, in the same title, under the subtitle Climate Engineering, by Dr. Julia Schubert, goes like this. The topic centered around solving the climate change problems with technology. Some of the techniques included forming artificial clouds over the oceans, using satellites to reflect the electromagnetic wave of shorter wavelength. The technology included detecting sulfur content in the stratosphere. However, the webinar concluded with the saying that it is in the best interest of the scientists and people to focus in reducing the greenhouse gases. And in the lecture number 4, under the subtitle Klima Migration aus Sicht des Menschenrechtsschutzes, I don't know, it's a pretty much long title, but it relates with the migration caused by the climate change by Dr. Will Frank. What I wrote in the summary was the topic focused on issues related to migration caused mainly by deteriorating climate and human-made problems such as fumigation or due to other causes that makes the environment unbearable to live in. Several important points were raised, such as the Paris Convention on climate change and possible punishments. I remember the conflict between Costa Rica and Nicaragua. I believe Nicaragua had to pay as a punishment for destroying the living condition of the people in the border. There are countries which are island, and every year increasing water level marks unfavorable living conditions. Alternatives such as migration remain the last resort. I remember in one of the questions put by an audience on the possibilities of such migration in Germany, there has not been such case, but it can be possible. That was the answer from the speaker himself. And in the lecture number 5, that the title is "Zu viel heiße Luft" or warm air. The topic under that title by George Winkel and Marcus Linder, the several topics were included, such as the different gestures of the forest in climate change, impact of the forest on the climate, impact of the climate change on the forest, adaptation strategies in politics and practice. And the topic was difficult to interpret. As you know, it is the topics were entirely spoken in German language, and I don't have such efficiency in German language. However, it is clear that the effect of the climate change could be seen in the way the plant grows now. We can expect it. Suppose the stem width has increased comparatively to the previous plants in 1990s, the forests remain the main carbon dioxide recycling center. In Europe, the beech and oak tree is an important part of the forest ecosystem. The modern buildings now follow environmental friendly policies. The old structures that is not friendly for the circulation of the gases, rising the internal temperature of the buildings, needs to be revamped or renovated. The construction of big and commercial buildings require sustainable materials and less dependent on wood and forest products. It looks like the whole European politics is focused in solving this climate issue. So these are the things this was a summary I wrote and presented it to the university for attending the lecture series, and afterwards it got approved, and I got more credit points for the certification of the international competence. So I'll share more information in the coming days if I have any new thing I will do in the field of education. So till then, goodbye, and have a great weekends and months and holidays. Please share and subscribe for good contents in the future.